there were many crises, states of crises that predated Trump, right? So even if every single defensive battle was won, and we know that that is not happening and that it can't happen, there will be wins, there will be losses. But even if in some amazing world, every defensive victory was won, we would still be standing on the ground that where we were before we had Trump. And that was the ground that produced Trump. And that was not safe, right?
Right.
And that was the ground in which social movements like Black Lives Matters were surging.
Yeah.
And the climate justice movement was surging because, we're out of time on that front. So we somehow need it to fight defense and offense at the same time. We need to end up somewhere that is different and better than where we were before Trump.
It's basically like that movie, The Devil's Advocate, with Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino, where it ends and you're like, yeah, he won. And then Al Pacino shows up with the devil again. Here I am. Let's start it all over again.
And
Am I the one who watches that movie every time it's on TBS? Just me?
I was like, Google that movie right now.
I think I may have seen the movie.
But just the idea of the movie is that it's like this battle with the devil, and at the end, Keanu Reeves is very like, I won, whoa. And then the devil shows up at the very end of the movie, implying like, we're going to do this all again. So I'm saying that like, to sort of support what you're saying, if we defeat Trump at every turn, we still have the south side of Chicago, the west side of Chicago. We still have the Bronx. We still have all these neighborhoods. We still have Appalachia. We still have poverty in the South. There's all these things that, like you said, produced him. So it would just be the next reality show TV game show host to be president.
Or worse, right? Because I mean, as bad as Trump is, I do believe there's worse than Trump. And this is why I think it's particularly worrying. I think one of the threads that created Trump is this idea that billionaires are going to save us, right? That we can outsource the world's problems to benevolent billionaires who, because they made a whole lot of money in one area, are some sort of magical creatures who automatically know how to fix everything. Like
Right.
Take Bill Gates, he knew a lot about creating a quasi software monopoly. I will give him that, but why he should have the power he has over the U.S. school system, because he has thrown so much money as a philanthropist at U.S. school system. I mean, he's completely changed education in this country. He is a massive influence in healthcare, internationally. He's more powerful than the World Health Organization. And that is treated as, that's the benevolent billionaire mythology. And, I think that the bestowing on billionaires, whether it is Richard Branson's going to solve climate change along with Michael Bloomberg, and Bill Gates is going to take education and hunger in Africa, and Bono's going to somehow help with all of it,
Bono will write a song to unite them all.
That this created the ground for Donald Trump. It is one of the roads that lead to Trump. It's not the only one, but it's an important one because that allowed it to somehow be a credible pitch to the American people of like, my only qualification for this job is I'm really rich.
Yeah.
Right?
Rich white savior.
Exactly. And so that idea comes from somewhere. And, Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are not spectators in this. I mean, the Clinton Foundation was ground zero for this idea of there is no problem that cannot be solved by bringing the right benevolent millionaire together with the right policymakers blessed by A-list celebrities. I mean, that is what the Clinton, the Davos on the Hudson, as their annual Clinton Global Initiative was called, gathering. And so the reason why I raise this is because I actually hear people saying, well, maybe Oprah should run, or we should get Mark Zuckerberg, or, maybe Elon Musk can save us. And I just think, maybe not. Like, maybe we should stop looking to this. We should stop treating politicians like celebrities. Like, that is not helping.
But is that feasible? Like, I think with the election coming in 2020, like, I sort of feel like I kind of understand, and I know that I kind of understand that
you
people
think Elon's going to save us, don't you?
No. I'm going a different way. I'm sort of lightly investigating, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson 2020. I'm lightly investigating it just because I feel like I get the need to go, we need a better face on our side, like just to get us through the next and then we'll go back to grassroots is what I'm saying. I sort of understand why the left would be like, maybe we need to get, it's like every superhero movie. We need a hero to match this villain, I'm not selling you on Dwayne The Rock Johnson 2020.
And there are some amazing pro wrestlers out there who I've met on Twitter. And I mean, there's
I'm not
no
saying I
doubt
believe that it's that he will say it, but I sort of get why people would go, okay, well, if this is the game, like I get why people who sort of think of this now as like it is become professional wrestling. Trump did stuff in the WWE. Maybe if we're not
Hall of Fame.
yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame. So if we're going to like. Here's the question. If it's like Joe Biden 2020 or Dwayne The Rock Johnson 2020.
Yeah. Okay. If those are the choices on the table, I think you may very well be right.
Okay.
But I'm hoping we don't go this route. Like, I was on Morning Show the other day, very weirdly, so weirdly, right? But they were saying, well, what about this Macron guy in France, right? Who is like he just won an election, and maybe we need to find our own Macron. And I just said, like, his name's Barack Obama. Like, that did happen in this country, and there are many forces that produce Trump, but I think one of them is the failure of neoliberal economics to tangibly improve lives for a lot of people, and a lot of people checked out on the Democratic side. So. I'm interested in what just happened in the UK, where, this really anti-politician, Jeremy Corbyn, did way better than anybody expected. I mean, like, as far from the rock as you could get as a politician.
You're not going to get me off the rock, Naomi. I'm going to.
Look. If the choices are The Rock and Joe Biden, I'm with you. I'm actually with you. But I think
the choices might be that, which is very frightening.
But what was interesting about what just happened in the UK is almost like what mattered about Jeremy Corbyn is that he's honest. He didn't seem to be trying to sell people a bill of goods, and he came up with a platform that were like, you're going to have free college tuition, and debt forgiveness for students, and well-funded public health care, and fewer wars, and people liked those ideas, and they thought he was a credible messenger for those ideas. So, I mean, I don't know whether this shift can happen in time for the next electoral cycle in this country, but I really do think that, Trump should be seen as a warning. It's this mirror that's being held up to our culture, and it's like, this all roads lead here. And I think what we should be doing is swerving in the face of that mirror and trying some other ideas instead of just doubling down and trying to out-Trump Trump at his own game, because it's actually really hard to out-Trump Trump at his own game. He's very good at branding.
I mean, you talk about hollow brands in your previous books, and that's what Trump is, isn't he? Like, he's a hollow brand. There is no substance. It's all built about his name, and his name carrying the weight. Like, this is what success looks like. It's Trump. When you think money, you think Trump. When you think the boss, you think Trump. Is that why it seems impossible to pin him down? It's impossible. No scandal seems to knock him off course, because, well, you do what you have to do when you're Trump.
Well, he has entered politics playing by a completely different set of rules. He's not playing by the rules of politics. He's playing by the rules of branding. His brand has swallowed the U.S. government. He's the first fully commercialized brand to become president. And this is not anything we've seen before. Yes, there have been presidents with business conflicts of interest. That is not the same as what Trump has done by turning the White House into an extension of the Trump brand. And the thing to understand about what companies like the Trump Organization are doing is they're not traditional companies. They're not selling a product. They're not, his business is not building buildings. His business is selling an idea. Right? So, for Nike, the idea that they sell is transcendence through sports. Apple sells revolution, or they used to sell revolution. Starbucks sells community. Trump sells impunity, right? He sells impunity through wealth. That is the promise. So if you're rich enough, I can help you be like me. That's the promise of The Apprentice. It's the promise of every book he's ever, quote unquote, written. It's the promise of Trump University. I will make you like me, quote unquote, university. Sorry, I have to put air quotes around
right.
all of these things. But this is what he's been selling now for 3 decades. And it's an increasingly seductive sales pitch. The more unequal the society becomes, the opening shot of The Apprentice is a guy sleeping rough on the streets of New York, and then it pans over to Trump in the limousine, right? Who do you want to be? The guy sleeping on the street, or do you want to be Trump, right? Like,
oh my God, I've never seen, I just realized I've never seen The Apprentice. I was like, I didn't know that. Wow.
It's really insidious. And I did, I had only seen a few episodes, or not even whole episodes before I wrote this book.
Favorite guilt watching TV, favorite show.
I did. But it was enlightening because this was televised class warfare. I hadn't really focused on that before, turning mass layoffs into mass entertainment. I mean, you've got to hand it to him for doing that. I mean, this is the whole genre of reality TV is sort of it's kind of capitalist burlesque, right? Like you've got a group of people who you train to turn on each other for a pot of gold at the end. But before The Apprentice, there was some pretext that they were doing something else, like competing on an island. There was something else going on. But then Trump was just like, no, this is about capitalism, and I'm the ultimate capitalist, right?
I can only imagine what you think of Undercover Boss.
Well, I'll come back to that. Okay, but just to answer
next time
the
you're
question,
on,
right?
we'll go through all the capitalistic reality shows, Shark Tank.
Oh, Shark Tank.
Let's do that. But so the problem is, if he had a brand with morals and he was playing by the rules of branding, then it would be easier to hold him accountable. But because he designed a brand that is all about what you can get away with if you're rich enough, you think about what he said on that Access Hollywood tape. You can grab him, if you're rich enough, if you're a celebrity, you can get away with it, right? So that's what he's been selling. And so everything he gets away with, every scandal, that he gets away with in office is reinforcing his brand. It doesn't make his base turn on him. It makes them identify with this aspiration of the all-powerful boss.
Right. And you're saying that, like, his brand was being a piece of shit. Be a piece of shit to get you where you want to go. So why are we surprised he's being shitty? Everyone's like, yeah.
Be careful, Hari.
Right.
That got a guy I know fired from CNN. Same.
Oh, man.
I mean,
that moment on the campaign trail where he said, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue, right? He knows exactly what's going on, but there are ways to hurt his brand. That's why he gets so upset by, the President Bannon memes and if people start saying he's not the boss, that gets his attention, right?
Right.
But being a mean boss or a bad boss or, a lying boss, that he could care less about that.